Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 948, we're going to talk about Ixhel, the scion of Atraxa. Not before we thank our patrons, and thank you all very much. You make the quest possible, and thank all of you who are not patrons, you liking, subscribing, commenting, pointing out things I missed. Much appreciated, actually. A lot of times I don't catch things until y'all point them out. And a big thank you to our friends over here at Dragon Shield. This deck is in Nebula Dual Mats. It's a beautiful shuffling sleeve. I love the dual mats. They're nice. You can find Dragon Shield at your friendly local game store, but let's talk about Ixhel. Now, this is a Phyrexian Angel. At the beginning of your Flying Vigilant Toxic 2, 2/5. But at the beginning of your end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters exiles the top card of their library face down. You may look at and play those cards, spending mana as if it will mana of any color. So, this is the deck that the set designers wanted us to build. So, we have 3 colors, so we have got a lot of mana fixing to do. Not necessarily ramp. Yes, it will get you ahead, but it's in a 3-color deck, it is more about trying to get, because you may need double white and the next turn need triple green or triple black. You don't know. So, here is what we have got. Obviously, there's green in it. We're kind of heavier lean toward the green. By the way, if y'all hear something unusual, I have folks walking on my roof right now, so just a heads up. We have Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Golgari Signet, Spectral Searchlight, Commander Sphere, Chromatic Lantern, Mind Stone. I love this new Phyrexian Atlas because it is a 3-for-1 mana rod, but they got 3 or more poison counters, they lose a life, so that's neat. Then we have our green set, the Paradise Druid, Farseek, Nature's Lore, and Cultivate. So, let's get to card draw. I am loving the new black Life for Cards card draw in this set. You draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Each opponent gets a poison counter. That is such a powerful line. This is how we know they're making cards for Commander, right? Because single player, you're passing out 1 poison counter. In multiplayer, there have been days I have played this card and passed out 8 poison counters. Caress of Phyrexia. Target player draws 3, loses 3, and gets 3. Now, this is good for, I don't want to say making deals because they're getting 3 poison, but if they need 3 cards, I don't know. If you don't mind getting the 3 poison, it's whatever. Feed the Infection. Draw 3, lose 3, and then each opponent who is corrupted loses 3 life. That's beautiful. Moldervine Reclamation. We got a lot of creatures. Whenever creature you control dies, gain a life and draw a card. I realize it takes up a slot and it's 5 mana on the board to do nothing that turn. And there are better cards than it, but I wanted to give it its time in the sun. Then Abzan Charm. Mainly for the draw 2, lose 2. The other 2 options are perfectly viable as well. Nothing wrong with those, but had to choose a category, right? So let's look at our toxic creatures. Now, these are the toxic creatures. Paladin of Predation. Glissa's Retriever. I'm not going to read all the text on these because this is 2023. All cards have, 9 lines of text nowadays. These are all the toxic creatures. Tyrannex Atrocity. I would have loved to have the T-Rex, but I didn't pull one. The Venomous Brutalizer. Annex Century. Flensing Raptor. Slaughter Sinker, Branchlight Stalker, Mere Convert, Pestilence Siphoner, Jawbone Duelist. Love this guy. I love the double strike. Black Belly Rat, Bilious Skull Dweller, The Crawling Chorus. Now this is a creepy dang artwork right here. Wormquake. I know it's not a creature, but let's face it, it makes a creature. Love the flashback as well. And then White Sun's Twilight. This is, I mean, this is one of my favorite cards from All Will Be One. I love this card. There are 3 major components to this. And you know what? I played this in the pre-release, and I completely missed the gain X life, even though it's right up front. So you gain X life, get X mites, and if X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. What? So you want this in your poison deck, you want this in your token deck, you want this in your life gain deck, you want this, I mean, it's just, in this deck, to where you're making the mites, wild. I love it. Now, I did kind of reach back and got a few Infect cards because I really, really like the Infect. Of course, we all do. As a delivery method for poison counters, Infect was probably a little strong. Toxic is a little more balanced. You get the trade-off with the toxic creatures deal the damage and the poison. The Infect creatures only deal the poison, but Phyrexian Swarmlord, you're dealing 4 if it's unblocked, right? And then, this makes yet even more. The Viridian Corruptor, Infect, but at ETB it pops an artifact. Black Mamba, Regenerating Infect. Oh, okay. Ichor Claw Mirror, and then the Ichor Rats. So, here again, each player gets a poison counter. That is beautiful. I love it. Now, we have Proliferate. In this, now, in the old days, Contagion class. I got a bunch of Contagion class, no Contagion engines. What's up? And Throne of Gath. Because we do have a lot of mana rocks, and there's going to be a point in time where we don't need them. Also, guess what? Mites are artifacts. But we have Drown and Ichor. Target creature, it's a spot removal, Proliferate. Unnatural Restoration. Was that Restore, Proliferate? Evolution Sage, Landfall, Proliferate. Carnivorous Canopy. Destroy an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. If it's 3 or less, Proliferate. Thirsting Roots. Searching the library for a basic land card, put it in your hand, and then Proliferate. Or Proliferate. Whichever one you want to do. Now, this is the, I'm going to say the helper category, like the Trailblazer Boots. Non-basic land walk is an amazing thing in our format, just because it is so many people play with non-basic lands. There's almost no drawback to it. So, yeah, this makes one of your poison guys unblockable. We have the Bone Picker Scourge. Now, while it is a 2/2 flyer, but as long as somebody is corrupted, Death Touch and Lifelink is pretty neat. Vraska's Fall. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or walker and gets a poison counter. What? Okay, I'll take it. Norn's Decree. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls deals combat damage to you, that opponent gets a poison counter. Now, if that's not a deterrent, I don't know what is. Whenever a player attacks, if one or more players are being attacked or poisoned, the attacking player draws a card. Right. This is a big card to just, and it's in the precon. So hey, about the Phyresis Outbreak. Each opponent gets a poison counter. I'm sold right there. Right. Then each creature your opponents control get -1 for each poison they have. For its controller has. Wow. So this is, yeah, most of the time it's going to be what? -2, -3. It'll never be more than -9. uh, we have Noxious Assault. Creature you control get +2/+2 whenever creature blocks this turn. Its controller gets a poison counter. What? So this makes all my Toxic Mites big. And then if they block it, they just automatically get a poison counter. So it's doing the poison thing regardless. And then, of course, I have the ultimate helper, a Johnny, the sleeper agent. On to our removal, Sword to Plowshares. This is all pretty standard stuff. Fracture, Return to Nature, Putrefy, Mortify, Despark, and Merciless Eviction. Because sometimes you got to exile stuff. There are times when just destroying it, not good enough. And we have our non-basic lands coming up. So here we are with the Exotic Orchard, Terramorphic Expanse, Sandstep Citadel, our Command Tower, the Evolving Wilds, Llanowar Waste, Witherbloom Campus, Haunted Mire. If you'll notice, I tried to use as many of the non-basics that had basic types on them, like Swamp Forest here for Haunted Mire, so that our Nature's Lore can go find them. Golgari Rot Farm, Dark Moss Bridge, Temple of Malady, Selesnya Sanctuary, Botanical Plaza. I kind of like these that you can sack to draw a card later on when you just don't need. Canopy Vista, another dual type. Sungrass Prairie, Temple of Plenty, Scattered Groves, the cycling dual type. Temple of Silence, Caves of Koilos, Scoured Barrens, and lastly, Goldmire Bridge. Tried to use the artifact lands as well because with the Throne of Geth, if we don't need them, or if it'll deal that one final proliferate, we can sack the land to it because it's an artifact land. But that is what we have got for Ixhel. It gets played a lot. I don't think I have played it, but it does get played a lot here at the shop here recently. I know that this is the base level. There are lots of, obviously, you want Blightsteals and you want Contagion Clasp and all the bells and whistles. But that is what we have got for today. I do appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed yet, you're 13 minutes into a poison video. Come on, subscribe already. It's right down there. But today, we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.